Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, and here from America, happy Halloween at least. I know a little bit of the world celebrates this holiday today. Uh, some of you may know it as All Saints' Day. Thank you for that, Rosa. It is also All Saints' Day. And, the Irish brought it to America when they escaped the potato famine in Ireland. I had no idea. I had no idea that the Irish brought it over. Good, Vivek. You're gonna celebrate Halloween by wearing a Goldberg mask. That's fantastic. Yes, Anthony. I know who Manny Pacquiao is. A good evening. Ooh, it's late. It's late where you're at. It's just morning. It's 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. I'm not sure what time it is, Greenwich Mean Time. But happy Monday to you. Hello from America. Greetings, Bangladesh. It's good to see people from around the world, as always, joining these live streaming classes. I'm glad you found them. I'll talk more about the live streaming classes in a little bit. And then we're going to have a vocabulary lesson this morning. Vocabulary, Adam. Vocabulary. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, vocabulary again? Yes, I think I said I wasn't going to do vocabulary, but I guess I lied. I want to do more vocabulary. And then we'll move on to something new after that. For those of you who don't know what Halloween is, it comes from Europe, and as Rosa mentioned in the comments section, there is a live comments section here as we go along with these lessons. As she mentioned, the Irish brought it over, and in parts of Europe, if you gave somebody who was hungry, if you gave a homeless person like a treat, like a sweetbread or something, maybe a bread with some fruit baked in, they would say a prayer for any of your family members who recently passed away, who recently died. And that would help that family member's ghost get to heaven, all those prayers. So they would beg for food, and if you gave them food, they would say a prayer for your relatives who have passed away to help their soul on the way to heaven. And we've taken part of that tradition, and now children go door to door on Halloween and ask for candy. They say, trick or treat. And the treat, of course, is the candy you give them. And if you don't give them candy, maybe they'll play a trick on you, like throw eggs at your house or put toilet paper in your trees. So usually people dress up on this day. They dress up in costume. And supposedly this is supposed to scare off or trick or fool the ghosts that are wandering around at this time. So Vivek, you're asking one of the students, Vivek. I'll get to Facebook in a second. So we've carried on some of these traditions, and it's mostly a holiday now for children. That's why we don't get it off. It's not a federal holiday. We don't get off work for Halloween. And children usually go to school in their costumes. And actually this morning I saw some kids in costume already this early in the morning going to businesses, because businesses will have candy too. So here downtown in Spokane, you'll see kids walking around and getting some candy. It's a good time to get a lot of candy. Oh, Vivek, has the video stopped? Have we stopped streaming? It says I'm still streaming. According to my information, we are still streaming. Yeah? Okay, it's still going good. Still going for some of you. Maybe it's a connection. Maybe it's a connection issue. I'm looking a little pale. I think I'm gonna up my flesh tone here. That's a little better. Okay, yeah, the magic. That's a little bit of movie magic for you. Give myself a little bit of flesh tone. Today's topic, since you asked, Squatty, it's vocabulary about science fiction. It's vocabulary about science fiction. I thought it would be a good lesson today for Halloween, since it is a holiday here in America. I believe North America and a little bit of Europe celebrates Halloween. It's generally a fun holiday. It's considered a fun holiday, a holiday to have parties and to eat treats and dress up in crazy costumes. Hi, Thailand. It's here in America. It is 7:30 a.m. Wow, you're almost a day ahead. Let's see what else. Oh, also, while I get you the class note link, driving to work this morning, I saw a deer. I saw a buck, which is a male deer. He had antlers. Maybe he was about a 6-point buck this morning. And they're pretty big. If you've never seen a deer before, they're a little smaller than a horse, but not too much smaller. Much larger than a dog, so I was really surprised. And I live in the city, so I was really surprised to see a buck walking around the streets this morning. So that's kind of one thing that's weird about living here in Spokane, is even though we're in a city, we're along a river. We have a river that goes through our city, so you'll see animals sometimes. Animals come up from the river sometimes. Okay, let me put the information on the background. Boom, there we go. Okay, so we got some information on the background there. I've shared the class link in the chat. Hopefully you can see that. I'll share it one more time now. If you're on a computer, you can use that link and follow along as I go along with these notes. If not, you can just follow along with the lesson here on YouTube if you're watching from your phone. I always share these same links at the beginning, as some of you may know. Yeah, Anthony, you mentioned there that it's rare to see a deer in the Philippines. Here where I live, not in all places in America, but where I live in America, which is the northwest corner near Canada, near the Pacific Ocean, there are a lot of animals. I see a lot of wild animals. In fact, I lived about 17 miles away from the center of the city, and there you would not just see deer, but also moose and raccoons. And oh gosh, what else did we have? All sorts of birds, of course, and sometimes big birds like falcons and hawks and eagles. So you see a lot elk, which is a lot like a deer. You see a lot of wild animals here. Okay. So again, there's the links. We're going to cover vocabulary. So let me talk about these links at the top of the class notes. First is Zach's contact information. If you have any questions about these Smrt streaming classes, these live classes, you can email Zach and ask questions. You can follow these links, and this will give you more information about the subscription service to these live classes. There is a paid service. Let me try that. Another link there. Loading. Well, let's let that load. Oh, there they are. So with these classes, of course, you watch for free on YouTube. There's a subscription service. With a subscription service, which is a paid service, you will get homework at the end of these lessons. You'll get access to the Smrt English curriculum, which has many levels of English and a lot of exercises. We'll mark up the assignments you do. You'll get quizzes and exams, and at the end, you will receive a certification. And there's several different levels. 4 to be exact, 4 different levels. That's what I mean by several. There are 4 different levels. So you can follow these links and check that out. We have a page for our school here in America. So if you have any questions about the actual place where we do these live classes, there's information on that. We have a Facebook page that you can join, and it's called Learn English on Facebook, and you're welcome to join that. And I added a new link. Some of you who have watched me introduce these links at the beginning of every video, you're probably like, what? A new link? Yes, a new link. But you probably know this one already. If you don't, all these videos we do are archived. They're saved, and you can go back and watch them at any time. And as you can see, there are quite a few videos. I know sometimes I get requests for a certain lesson, especially grammar lesson. There's a good chance that that grammar lesson has been covered by either myself or another teacher, so you can always go back and look at the lessons on YouTube. You can always watch those. Yeah, it's a link to our channel. It's a link to our YouTube channel. So there are many resources. There are many resources that will hopefully help you study English. I know some of you are in school, some of you are working, some of you are at home, some of you are trying to reach a goal, getting ready to take a test, just wanting to improve your English. So we provide many resources for you to do that. Okay, my name, for those of you who don't know yet, is Neal Hallgarth. I'll be your teacher for the next, I don't know, about 45 minutes or so. And then one more time, how about one more time I add the link to the class notes in the chat room. All right, are you guys ready to go with science fiction vocabulary? Science fiction vocabulary. And here we go. Actually, I'm going to go off the presentation. One weird thing about the presentation, it is not in the same order as the list. So you're just going to have to find these words as I go along. So we have some questions already. Hader, how do you download the vocabulary page? I shared the class notes, maybe one more time. I shared the link to the class notes in the chat room. That link you see that comes from Smrt English, you can open that link and see these class notes. How do you do a test? Zed, if you want to do a test, you have to sign up for the subscription service. Okay, here we go. Ready? Okay, the first word is abduct. Abduct. I have been abducted by aliens 6 times. And if you look at the picture in the background, you see this little guy being beamed up, being sucked up into the UFO like it's a vacuum cleaner. He's being abducted. He's being kidnapped. He's being stolen by the aliens. And of course, he doesn't want this to happen. Abduction, being abducted, is usually against the person's will, against a person's will. And there's UFO abducting, taking the human to do experiments on him. And then they'll drop him off when he's done. So don't worry, the guy will be okay. I don't know why they're picking him. I don't know why he's swimming. It looks like a dock. It looks like he's swimming near a power plant under a full moon. I think swimming near a power plant, a nuclear power plant under a full moon, you're asking to be abducted by aliens. I think that guy is asking for it, but he's being abducted. Okay, next one, account, noun. The girl's account of what happened was really strange. And account, of course, is the way you tell the story, your version of the story, how you read the story. Okay, I think we have a question already about abduct. Does abduct mean assaulting? Not really, not really. Let's go to the class notes. To the class notes already. Let me find abduct. Oh, there it is, at the bottom of the list. Abduct. Take, steal a person. Therefore, it's kidnap. It's kidnap. Kidnap is when you take a person, steal a person. Anthony, I've never seen a UFO either, and it's really difficult for me to believe because I haven't seen a UFO. But many, many people around the world have accounts of when they were stolen by an alien. So many people share their own accounts of being abducted by aliens. So it's their version of the story. Who knows? Maybe they were just drunk and they think it happened. But it's their account. It's their version of the story, what they think happened. And many people have accounts of seeing a UFO. And some people even have accounts of being abducted. Hey, for those of you just joining us, Mala, Clara, we're talking about science fiction vocabulary. Let's look at the next one. Aircraft. Noun. I'm not sure what kind of airplane I saw in the sky. The aircraft was really big though. So aircraft is a very general term for any vehicle in the sky, like an airplane, a helicopter, a UFO, if you happen to see a UFO. Aircraft. We call everything in the sky aircraft. A hot air balloon. I don't know if a hang glider would be big enough to consider aircraft. Maybe. I think anything that can fly, any vehicle that can fly and transport would be aircraft. Maybe even a drone could be considered aircraft. Any vehicle or machine that can fly through the air. Aircraft. So a very general term, aircraft. Next word, analysis. Analysis, noun. The evidence of UFOs and aliens has gone through much analysis. Analysis. What do you know analysis to be? Go ahead and share your understanding of this word in the chat room, and I'll write down your synonyms in the class notes. Analysis. What do you understand analysis to be? Somebody's asking about aircraft. Is it a kind of plane? Yes, aircraft is all kinds of planes. Aircraft is anything in the sky. Anything in the sky. Let me look for aircraft. So when we think of aircraft, and of course I'll share these synonyms in the class notes, we're talking airplanes, helicopters, hot air balloons, blimps, anything that can fly. I'm going to include drones in there because drones have become popular recently. So anything in the sky that can fly. Good analysis. Yeah, analysis is a verb. Oh, analyze is the verb, sorry, my bad. Analysis is the noun, analyze is the verb. And of course it has kind of special meaning. Interpretation is good, I like that, Clara. Assess, I like that. Research, of course I like that. That's also a good one. Yeah, we can put study in there. You do have to do some study and research. Examination, good. Of course, an analysis is I'll put the noun form, a close look at something. This is an analysis. The evidence of UFOs and aliens has gone through much analysis. People have done research on aliens, believe it or not. So when somebody says they've been abducted, a researcher, a UFO researcher, will look at things like the weather during that day. Were there any other aircraft? Was there maybe a U.S. military plane in the area, or a passenger plane? Was the person under the influence of something like alcohol? Were there any strange astrological patterns in the sky, like a shooting star? So they'll do an analysis. They'll look at all the different parts. That's good, Anthony. They'll look at all the different parts and try to come up with a complete story by examining those different parts. Yeah, Marka, Payas Marka, the think through. These are good. Yeah, you guys have good synonyms for analysis. I think you understand it now. Yeah, looking closely, examining, researching, looking at all the parts. Analysis. Astronaut, noun. When I was a child, I wanted to be an astronaut. And I think the picture in the background makes it clear what astronaut is. That is an astronaut. An astronaut is someone who travels into space. Rosa, do we say the doctor asked me to do some analysis? If you work for the doctor, yes, the doctor will ask you to do an analysis. Usually the doctor will say, I want to do an analysis on you, or I want to do an analysis of you. He might use it as a verb, he or she, the doctor. I want to analyze your blood sample. The doctor is usually the one who does the analysis, or maybe a lab researcher. So he wouldn't ask you, he or she wouldn't ask you to do it. He or she would say they are going to do it. Okay, next word. You guys in the chat room, sometimes you make me laugh. So if you ever see me laugh, it's because of what you guys have written there. Astronomer, noun. An astronomer studies the stars and planets. An astronomer is a scientist who studies stars and planets. Astronomers are the ones who discover new stars and planets. Also, things in the sky that move, like comets and asteroids and meteors. They study space. They study outer space. They study things above the atmosphere. Those are astronomers. When I was a child, I wanted to be an astronomer when I grew up, but then I learned how much math I had to know, and I decided that I was not going to be an astronomer. You have to be good at math and physics, and I am not. I did take astronomy in university, though, and it was a great class. We did go out and we looked through telescopes, and you see a telescope right here, this instrument. We got to look at stars through a high-powered telescope. So we got to see galaxies, star clusters. We got to see big things in the sky. It was very, very cool. Yeah, good, good. I like that. I like that definition. Sky thinker. We have a couple questions about astronomers, so let's go to the class notes. Let's find astronomer. There it is, astronomer. Sky thinker. Yeah, somebody who thinks about the sky, who studies the sky. The name of the science, so the scientist, the person, is an astronomer. The name of the science itself is astronomy. Astronomy. Good, a stargazer. Yeah, a stargazer, good. Yeah, you have to be very smart to become an astronomer. Samuth, you don't want to be an astronomer? I still would like to be an astronomer. Of course, it's just a crazy dream at this point. My teacher, my university professor for astronomy, when I took the class, when he was young, he spent time in the North or the South Pole in Antarctica at an observation station in Antarctica. And he had to stay inside, of course, because it's very cold. But he was down there with a group of scientists looking at the stars, researching the stars. And that sounds like actually be a fun time to me, because I do like space. I do like space. I'm always interested in things like that. Okay, let's keep going. We have astronomer next. Bark, which is a verb. Every night my neighbor's dog won't stop barking. And the picture once again makes it extremely clear. Bark is the sound that a dog makes. That's what dogs do. That's the sound they make. They bark when maybe they feel angry, or they feel threatened or scared, or sometimes maybe even if they're happy to see you, they will bark. It's the dog's way of communicating. Bark. Zed, you don't like space? Well, you don't have to go to space. But you know what? In the future, space travel will be possible for everybody. It'll be like a way of flying. Aircraft will go high up in space and then return. There will be high orbit space travel. It'll make traveling quicker. It'll be quicker than the airplanes we have today. So there will be commercial flights available in space soon in our lifetime, before we will see it, and maybe we will get to experience. Maybe we will be able to buy tickets. Of course, you don't go outside. You won't put on a suit and go outside. You'll stay in the aircraft. Bark, yeah, you can use bark for humans, actually. It's a way for a person to speak sharply, to speak loudly, to maybe a way for a human to get their point across. So sometimes we do say a person barks. I could say, the policeman barked at me. He told me to get out of the road. So yeah, sometimes we say dogs are all bark and no bite. They may look scary and sound scary, but they actually are not scary. Good, good expressions. I'm going to have to go to the class notes. So we do have some idioms related to bark. All bark and no bite means something or somebody may look scary or sound scary, but actually they're not. There's no threat there. Also, we say barking up the wrong tree. That's when you're trying to achieve something, you're trying to achieve a goal, but you're going about it, you're trying to complete that goal in the completely wrong way. You will not achieve your goal. You are barking up the wrong tree. You're using the wrong method. You're doing the wrong thing. You will not get to your goal. Think of a dog chasing a squirrel, and the squirrel runs up one tree, and the dog starts barking at the other tree. The dog will never catch the squirrel. He doesn't even have the correct tree. So those are some synonyms. And we can say something like, my boss barked at me to complete the project. We can say, we use it with people. We often use the way animals communicate. We use those as verbs for people to kind of make our point about how that person sounded, maybe even how they looked. If I said this sentence, my boss barked at me to complete the project, my boss is not happy with me, apparently. We have another question. What's the difference between bark and roar and howl? That's good. That is good. So bark is for dog, of course. Roar is for lion. And then howl is for wolf. So we have different verbs for the sounds different animals make. And there's a lot of them. Oh, okay, well, we have another question. Take vocabulary for granted. Take vocabulary for granted. That sentence would mean that you believe you already know all of this vocabulary, so you don't think much about it. And that's when we say you take something for granted, it's dangerous because it means you are not paying close attention. You think you know it, but maybe you don't. So it's not good to take things for granted. I'll write that at the bottom of vocabulary. Take for granted. Believing that you already know something, even if you don't. We usually think it's a dangerous thing to take something for granted. We often say something like, don't take your parents for granted. Don't believe your parents can magically do everything for you. Don't believe your parents will always be here. They will pass away sometime in the future. So you should always respect them. You should always think about them. You should always think what you can do for them in return for everything they've done for you. Don't take your parents for granted. Don't believe that they're just there and they will always be there, and that it takes very little effort for them to do what they do. Don't take your parents for granted. Okay. So, let's go back to vocabulary. I'm sorry if I can't answer all your questions. You all always have a lot of excellent questions, but I do have to try to get through some of these lessons. And of course, you can always try to ask me these questions at the end in the chat room, and if I have time, I can answer some of them there. Okay, next one, beast, a noun. Another word for monster is beast. A beast is a very general word. It can mean monster, it can mean animal, it can mean a bad or scary or strange person. Beast, a very, very general term. Usually it implies something big, but in the picture in the background, this looks like a little person. This looks like a troll, like a Norwegian troll. Beast. Yeah, another word for monster is beast. It can also mean animal, though. It's often used very generally with animal, and sometimes maybe for a person who is acting like an animal or monster. Beast. For those of you just joining us, we are talking about vocabulary, science fiction vocabulary, or vocabulary concerning strange things, weird things. Being, noun. I'm not sure if I saw a person or alien. The being was the same height as humans, though. So in this case, being means a living thing, being. A living thing. Yeah, going back one word to this word beast, Asta, you thought of Beauty and the Beast. You may know that story or that movie. Of course, Beauty and the Beast, the monster. And this one, yes, Rosa, that's right. Beast is used with big animals. I saw a deer this morning. I don't know if I would call it a beast. I don't know if I would call the deer I saw this morning a beast, because it's kind of a graceful animal, kind of a beautiful animal, and not so big, like bigger than me, but not gigantic, not like an elephant. Being, going back to being we have a living thing, usually something we think that is intelligent. For some reason, we use being. We often call ourselves, of course, human beings. An existing thing, an existing and intelligent thing, being, existence, yeah, existing, being. So it just means a living thing, an existing thing, being. Next one, blow up, verb. The fire caused the gas oven to blow up. Again, I believe this picture makes it quite clear. Unlike being, I guess she's thinking about the alien she saw. She's thinking during either sunrise or sunset. But this one, I think blow up, this picture makes it very, very clear. Something is blowing up, explosion. Capture, verb. Some people believe the U.S. government has captured alien spacecraft. Some people believe that U.S. government has captured alien spacecraft. I'm not sure what this picture up here is trying to show. Maybe somebody thinks that's evidence of a UFO. Oh, I see it now. I see the saucer shape. Okay, I can see it on my small monitor there. It's kind of hard to tell what it is on my big monitor. Maybe a jellyfish? I don't know. Some people think pictures like this prove that they're UFOs. Of course, I'm not so sure. Some people believe the U.S. government has captured alien spacecraft, and they keep them in a place called Area 51 in the New Mexico desert. Some people believe that very, very much. Yeah, capture is like catch. So Vivek, not so much destroy. Milena has a good idea of it. Catch, catch. Maybe let's go to the class notes. Let's look for where's my, oh, what am I doing? Here we go, capture. Let's look for capture. Yeah, catch is a good one. Maybe even imprison, put into prison. And then we had a couple for blow up. Yeah, explode. No, capture is not discover or captivate. Well, so that's a form. Let me look up capture again. Captivate is a form of capture. Captivate means to maybe catch someone with charm or attractiveness. Somebody you see or talk to may captivate you. They kind of capture or catch your attention with their charm or their beauty. So it's kind of the same word. It's close to the same word. Yeah, it's just a hypothesis. Aliens are just a hypothesis, not a proven theory. As far as we know, as far as normal people go, no, there has been no scientific proof to say that UFOs that can be theorized. It's only an idea at this point, but maybe we don't have all the evidence. That's always the argument, that we don't have all the evidence. Next word, civilization, noun. Is it possible that civilizations exist outside our world? Civilization, a place where people have built buildings and live, places where intelligent beings have created a system of living. Civilization. Cities, of course, are civilizations. A system of living for beings, civilization. A question, Marka, what's the difference between burst and blow up? Burst is, going back to the class notes, burst is what balloons do. Balloon or a bubble. We have, here's another idiom. I hate to burst your bubble. It's like destroy your dream. This idiom means I hate to destroy your dream. I hate to tell you that UFOs don't exist. I hate to burst your bubble. So burst is for maybe delicate things, things that are easy to break, like a balloon or a bubble. Blow up, you're using something very destructive, like dynamite or nitroglycerin or some kind of bomb to create a large fiery explosion. Good, Rosa. The Roman Empire was one of the outstanding civilizations in the past. Civilization, and I'm going to put that as an example sentence. The Roman Empire, of course, was one of the outstanding civilizations in the past. Civilization is think of it for a definition, a system of living for beings. Civilization. Vivek, good use of vocabulary. Way to get 3 words in one sentence. Asta, is that Harappan and Egyptian civilization were contemporary? They existed at the same time? Okay, Jorge, no, you're not too late. We still have a little bit of class to go. We're covering science fiction vocabulary. Vocabulary you might come across in a book or a movie about ideas, about hypothesis, about what we think our future might hold. Next one, coincidence, noun. I'm going to pop out so you can see all of the sentence here. When we were watching the stars last night, we saw a UFO. It was a coincidence that we were looking at the sky. Coincidence is kind of something that happens by luck. 2 things that happen, and it's hard to say why they happened at the same time, but it seems lucky that they happened at the same time. Or 2 things that are hard to explain why they happen at the same time. So we were watching the stars last night. We saw a UFO. It was a coincidence that we were looking at the sky. It's not our habit. It's not our usual plan to look at the sky. It's unusual for us to look at the sky, and it's unusual for us to see a UFO. It's a coincidence that these 2 things happened at the same time. Weird that it happened at the same time. So we often, it's an accident. Good, Zed, it's an accident. Oop, before I get to conspiracy, I'm way ahead now. Let's, Vivek, it was a coincidence. You know about these smart classes. Sometimes we don't plan things. Sometimes things happen by accident. 2 things happen together for no apparent reason. 2 things happen, and they go together well. We think of coincidences as maybe pointing to a pattern or something unusual that we can't quite see the whole picture, but there's a reason why these 2 things happened at the same time. It might be a coincidence that you're here watching these smart classes, but there's a reason. You're meant to be here watching it. Yeah, serendipity, that's a good word. I like that word. Serendipity. It just happened. It's good that it happened. It's lucky that it happened. Not mundane. No, coincidences are often not mundane. Mundane things we don't notice, and if something happens by coincidence, you would notice it. An incident, yeah, we could say a strange incident, a strange happening, something remarkable, something we would notice. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to that creepy picture coming up. Whoa, that's a weird picture. Let me get my head out of the way of the period there. Conspiracy, noun. A large number of people love to discuss conspiracies on the internet. So I don't know what conspiracy this is showing. That aliens maybe have influenced human history, that aliens are scientists doing experiments on us. Conspiracies are ideas about secret plans. Let's go to the class notes. Conspiracy. Ideas that secret plans are happening. Conspiracies. So we always have this idea that governments, world governments, are doing all of these things that we don't know about, everything in secret. And we come up with a lot of conspiracies. UFOs are conspiracies, or that the government has actually captured UFOs. That's a conspiracy. It's something that's hard to prove because it is a secret. If it is, you know, so how can you prove it? How can you prove it's right or wrong? So we just guess about it and we talk about it. We call them conspiracies. Yeah, good. A frame up. A frame up by a cover up. A conspiracy. Secret forces are controlling things. I would say a conspiracy is usually illegal. In connivance, I like that one, Lynn. I'm going to put connivance. Yeah, people secretly plan. Is conspiracy always negative? That's a good question. I was thinking that myself. Is conspiracy always negative? That's a great question. I'm going to have to think about that. I would say yes. Generally, we use it in a negative term, but in science fiction, because we're talking about science fiction, sometimes aliens have a secret plot, but they're actually trying to help us or tell us something. And then in other movies, the aliens have a secret plot, a conspiracy, and they're trying to hurt us or harm us, take over the earth. So I think in science fiction, sometimes conspiracies can be positive. Sometimes somebody's trying to keep something secret to actually help human beings. But in real life, I would say conspiracies are negative. Okay, let's look at the next one. Creature, noun. I'm not sure if it was an animal or Bigfoot. The creature was definitely big and hairy. And here we see a creature, a yeti, like a snow ape, doesn't really exist. We would call that a creature. It's like beast, some kind of animal, but usually creature we use for unusual animal, unusual animal. Okay, let's go to next. Credible, adjective. The eyewitness's story was not very credible. You shouldn't believe it. So if somebody saw this, said, I saw a UFO, the story is not credible. You can't believe it. It looks more like a car hubcap being thrown in the sky. It's not believable. It's hard to believe. It probably is not true. We say credible. It is not credible. Yeah, it's not reliable. It's not trustworthy. Creepy. Ooh, adjective. This house feels really strange and creepy. I'm scared. Creepy is like scary, like a little scary. Makes you feel something is wrong. It's creepy. Something is a little off. Depict, verb. The painting depicts a mother and her baby. So depict is just a fancy word for show. The picture shows. Depict, show. Exaggerate, verb. Many stories have been exaggerated. It is difficult to know what is true and what is not. Exaggerate is when you make a story bigger than it really is, when you tell a large story. You make something that happened, that really happened, but you put some fiction into it. You make it more of a story. You exaggerate. You make something bigger than it actually is, maybe more exciting. You take something that really happened and you make it into a story. You exaggerate. If I said, and sometimes it doesn't have to be a story, it can be something small. If I said, I wore my backpack to school today, it weighed 100 pounds. I'm exaggerating. It did not weigh 100 pounds, but it probably was very, very heavy. Yeah, it's an overstatement. It's good, Asta. It's hyperbolic. Let's add a couple to exaggerate. Exaggerate. Overstatement. Hyperbolic. Yeah, it's a good word. Hyperbolic. It's too big. It's too big. Fearsome. Adjective. The animal is quite fearsome. I am quite scared of it. I'm not sure what we're looking at there. A badger or a wolverine? Maybe a badger. The animal is quite fearsome. I am quite scared of it. It makes you feel fear. It is fearsome. Scary. Fearsome. Flying saucer. Noun. Many people call UFOs flying saucers. Saucers are this round shape, like a frisbee that you would throw in the sky. Or a pie tin, something you would bake a pie in, is a saucer shape. So UFOs, many people think they are saucer shaped. They're in the shape of a giant saucer, and they're flying, so flying saucer. Another name for UFO. I saw a UFO, or I saw a flying saucer. Footage, noun, footage. It is difficult to get good video footage of ghosts. So footage, video. It's hard to get good video footage. Substantial video, a longer piece of video captured on video. So not just one single frame here, like if you can see, go point this way, if you can see in the film strip, not just one single frame, but you get many frames of a ghost, and then you have good footage of a ghost. And usually if we want to prove something with video, we do need the footage. We need the footage. We need some good frames of video. Galaxy, noun. Our galaxy is called the Milky Way. We live in the Milky Way. A galaxy is a star system, and we call ours, I don't know why we call it the Milky Way, probably because the cluster or the grouping of stars is so close together, so dense, that it takes on a white appearance like milk. So maybe that's why we call it the Milky Way. Our star system, our galaxy. Grave, ooh, good Halloween word, grave, noun. I visited my grandfather's grave last week. Yeah, a place where someone is buried. A place where someone is buried. Grave. Haunt, verb. The house is haunted by ghosts. Oh, creepy, spooky, scary. Haunt, verb. The house is haunted by ghosts. Haunt means something remains. Something has not left. We often say ghosts haunt a house. Can living things, can living people haunt? They can if they will not leave. Like we might say, like my parents haunt me about moving out of the house. Means they won't leave it alone. They won't leave me alone. They remain and they say the same thing over and over again. You might use it as an exaggeration. You could say something like, I often haunt this coffee shop. I am at this coffee shop a lot. I stick around. I read. I drink a lot of coffee. Angela, Milky Way is not a chocolate. It is. Milky Way is a chocolate bar. Yeah, Milky Way. Yeah, it's also the name of a chocolate bar, of a candy. It comes originally from our galaxy. Hoax. Here's a good word for you. Hoax, noun. Most UFO photos and videos are simply hoaxes, tricks, jokes, not serious, meant to fool you, meant to trick you. A hoax. Don't believe in hoaxes. Many UFOs are just hoaxes. Vivek, you're asking, does spook mean haunt? It can. Those can be synonyms. Hoax, fake? Yes. Hoaxes are fake. The dead haunt the living on Halloween? Yes, that is the account. That's the story. Ghosts haunt the living during Halloween. That's why we put on costumes to fool them. I don't have my costume on right now. I'll put it on a little later. I didn't have time this morning to put on my full costume. Hoax, trick, ploy, fake. Good for hoax. Ruse, a lot of good words. Ruse. Spook, haunt. Yeah, let's look at haunt. Spook. Remain. Yeah, maybe we can say hesitate. The ghost hesitates before going to the next life. Okay, unfortunately, that's all the time I have. I've shared the class notes with you. I'll share the class notes with you one more time. Put them here. You can look at these. You can continue to study this vocabulary. Of course, we covered a lot of it already. There are some questions at the end. For those of you who have a subscription service for homework, I would like you to do reading exercises 6.1 and 6.2 on the Smrt curriculum. Please do reading exercises 6.1 and 6.2 for homework. I will see you all on Wednesday in a couple days. Have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great couple of days. Have a great week. I will see you soon. Watch more Smrt videos as always. Always learn new words. Improve your vocabulary. It pays to increase your word power. And I will see you soon. Have a happy Halloween for those of you celebrating. If not, thank you for wishing me a happy Halloween. And I'll see you real soon. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.